What's happening, people? Dan Lawless here from West Ham Fan TV, and I am joined by a good friend of mine, Louis from 100% Chelsea, for this opposition preview.
Yeah.
How's it going, Louis?
Not bad, Dan. How are you? You good?
Yeah, mate, good to have you back. I ain't seen you since I wrapped a steel chair around your head, mate.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're going to put that clip in somewhere in the next few seconds, or going to retweet it on your Twitter.
Yeah.
Like you were saying still on my channel, which was always fun.
Yeah, I'll put that up there if you guys want to see that on my channel, on my Twitter, at the Lawless. Go and check that out.
I genuinely still have post-traumatic stress disorder. He hit me with a chair, then my head hit another chair, and then I got hit by the chair when he dropped it.
It's good fun. It's good fun. So
for him it was, but not for me.
On to football. On to football, yeah. Right? Now, obviously, I don't follow Chelsea too closely. I see the results here and there, and, you know, when I can catch match of the day. But how's the season for you guys gone so far?
To be honest, obviously we obviously had that shaky start. That was well documented. You know, obviously it was Burnley, and then obviously there was a talk of Conte leaving. But during that whole period, the players still fought for Conte. There was obviously still something there, and he'd moved his kids over and his family over to England. So, you know, there was definitely no truth in any of those rumours. Yeah, we all know he's going to go back at some point, whether it be the end of this season or, you know, the end of next when his contract runs out. But you know, overall, you know, we've started to get back into it now. We were unbeaten for a few games. Then obviously we conceded our first goal in the league against Liverpool in like 4 or 5 games. So defensively we're pretty solid at the minute. We have who I consider, we were talking about this on the train down, me and my crew, we think Azpilicueta is the best defender in the world. Looked at the statistics, who scores, he's better than Ramos, he's better than PK, he's better than Bonucci statistically, and you know, he's only made one defensive error in the past 3 years or 2 years that led directly to a goal. So we're playing well. Alvaro Morata, obviously not as great as we thought he'd be to begin with. Obviously he's still getting used to the league and still developing, and you know, we've got to give him a little bit of time, because I think a lot of people were expecting the finished product. Obviously with Diego Costa we had a battering ram. Alvaro Morata isn't that, but he's strong in the air and he's the full capability to get there. I
mean, looking at Costa, do you think Conte was kind of hasty in just sort of mugging him off in a way, or just saying, look, like, you're done, mate, and not maybe trying to appease him and keep him at least until maybe January or the summer? No,
because he tried to appease him. You know, ever since Costa's joined, every transfer window he's wanted to leave. So, you know, in January when that whole Chinese thing happened, he fell out with the fitness coach. Conte said to him, look, keep it to the end of the season, but after that, you know, we're going to have to part ways. Costa's like, all right, okay. So then when he basically sent him the text when he was away, and obviously he didn't expect him to come back for pre-season because the idea was to sell him, he said, no, you know, thank you for everything. Best of luck in the future. I mean, there were better ways to handle it, maybe a phone call, maybe actually sit down and talk to him, but at the end of the day, Costa knew what was happening, and for him to kick off about it was wrong of him. You know, he was looking for a way out, he got given the way out.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy. I mean, like I said, Alvaro Morata, he's a completely different animal. He's still very physical, but he's not someone who's physical in terms of he'll get in your face afterwards as well. He doesn't live on that edge, he doesn't play that mental game. He's physical in the air, he's a presence. But the one thing that's wrong with him is he's still going down too easily. He's still not adjusted to the Premier League. He almost feels like he's still playing Spanish football. But like I said, it takes time. He needs time to develop, and you know, he can do that. I don't expect us to win the league this year. I didn't expect it at the beginning of the season. Yeah. I personally thought Man United were going to win it, but obviously City, I mean, you can't win it in December, but City still have the capability with an 8-point gap to go and sort it out and have it done and dusted. But
talking of United, actually, and this is something I wanted to ask you for a while now, do you regret selling Matic?
I don't know. I think for me it's a case of we have to bring in, with the 40 million we got, we had to bring in a player. Matic for me for the last 2 seasons at Chelsea really wasn't all that. He did all right with his defensive duties, but
you've strengthened a rival for the title and they're above you.
Well, it's only a point or so, and you know, I think it was a bit of a strange move, But you know, we brought in Bakayoko. Drinkwater's been fantastic for us since he's come in. It may sound a bit stupid, and everyone did say it was a bit of Fabian Delph signing, but the guy puts heart and soul into everything.
That's what I was actually surprised. I didn't expect him to be playing games for you guys and starting too many games, but that's surprising. Have you been surprised with Drinkwater?
Oh, 100%. I was one of the first people to criticise it. We were all sat there and said, "Don't need Drinkwater." What? And since he's come in, he's been fantastic. I honestly can't say he's put a foot wrong. When he first got back, because he had that long-term injury laugh, it was just the simple stuff he did well, and obviously that was the Everton Cup game. We were all sat there like, yeah, all right, cool. But then since then, him and Kante, obviously they brought back that Leicester partnership. You've got Fabregas who's now come into the side, and Conte, the way he set it up, is almost back to the 3-5-2 that he used when he was in Italy with Juventus. You know, they had to make room for Pirlo, so Fabregas he isn't Pirlo because no one is Pirlo, but in this sense at Chelsea, you know, he's the creative player, and you've got two hard workers in Drinkwater and Kante, who make up for it. But in terms of the Magic signing, I think, you know, right now we were too worried about the squad depth, but right now it's okay. Obviously, I'd still strengthen in January, but I think right now Bakayoko still needs time to develop. I really don't think he's been that great over the past few games, but Drinkwater, Kante and Fabregas, I'm happy with that. Yeah,
he seemed to started like quite rave reviews Bakayoko early on, and now it seems to be dipping. But if we're gonna beat you guys on Saturday, how can we do it? What's the way? I mean, you guys are, like I said, flying, but what's the way we can beat you guys?
I think it depends if we stay awake. The one problem we have with the team is that with Marcos Alonso and Zappacosta, if we play a 3-5-1-1 or 3-5-2, we don't have the overlaps in terms of wing backs. You've got the wing backs for width, and that's it. So say, for example, obviously you've got Masuaku, who's quite quick, you've got Lanzini, Andre Ayew, Antonio. If they were just running into the spaces that were left and vacated by the wing backs, then that could be one way to get us with width. But it's a case of, if Andy Carroll's not fit, who have you got in the box to head it in? It's those kind of arguments. I think also if central midfield, like I said, even though I'm really happy with Danny Drinkwater and Kante and Fabregas is still quite a weak link, and you can go through the middle if he falls asleep, because he's not the physical player. He'll stick his leg out, and he's got better with fitness, but he's not the physical presence which will win the ball back and then make those passes. That's what Kante and Drinkwater are there for. But I think that's where we may have problems, and there is weaknesses in this team. With another one, I think Gary Cahill this season has been a bit of a weak link, but he's got better in the last few games, the last couple of months really. He had a really shaky August and September, but ideally I think the team that we started against Newcastle would be the team that I'd go with. It was really strong. Andreas Christensen's come through the youth system, and it's great to finally see a player like him. You know, we all love him. We're not cringy at the whole he's one of your own chant type of thing, but he's come through, he's slotted straight into the team. 2 years out on loan at Mönchengladbach in Germany has definitely helped him as a player. I almost feel like there was the argument about him and John Stones when we were going to be signing John Stones, and I'm kind of glad that we waited, because Andreas Christensen is a physical presence as well as being able to make those passes, and him displacing David Luiz in the team has been huge. Rudiger, since he's come through to Chelsea from Roma, like I said, we're talking about physicality. Players like Rudiger himself, incredibly physical, incredibly quick, very mobile. And then obviously I've already said Azpilicueta, who is in my opinion, and I've backed it up with statistics, so come at me in the comments.
Imagine he makes a foul up, on Saturday. That will come back to haunt you,
It will, but that'll still be only 2 in 2 years. So
right, fair enough.
World best defender in the world in Azpilicueta.
So let us know what you guys think in the comments. That's what.
Go on, who scored? Check the stats. They did a whole piece on it.
Sometimes people say them stats can be misleading, and it's when you watch the game, a lot of people say who scored.
Watch the game and watch Azpilicueta. Seriously, honestly, he's absolutely fantastic. The way he's gone from right back to left back to centre back. When he was at Osasuna, Jack was telling me, one of my regulars, he was read an article. He played up front in some games. He's so. He's versatile. Yeah. He's when he gets the armband on as well, he's a completely different animal. He leads the line with Christensen as well. Like I'm saying, the whole he's 21 and he's bringing Azpilicueta, Cahill forward. These are seasoned professionals who played Champions League and they've won trophies. And then he's there going, all right, move forward now. Let's go here. Let's keep the line. He's wise beyond his years, Christensen, but And I've already said going to the field, obviously N'Golo Kante, you don't need to say anything. Fabregas is, you know, Conte said it himself, he's been really surprised at how Fabregas has fought for his place. So you've got a character in Fabregas there, and obviously Danny Drinkwater, who will fight for everything. Alonso, another player who he was rested in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid, I think with this game in mind. He's been a bit of a surprise package for everybody. Obviously at Bolton and Sunderland he wasn't the best player in the world, but he's come back, he's come through to play wing back, and he's been fantastic for us. You know, he's not the player that will win you the Champions League, but he puts a massive shift in. And the same goes for Moses, Zappacosta, and then obviously Morata and main man Eden Hazard.
Yeah, you're just throwing all these names at us and we're like, oh, here we go, you know, all these big names out, you know. But like I said, I mean, we faced, you know, probably the best team in the league. Well, they are the best team in the league at the moment, currently.
I hate saying it.
Backs it up, they are.
I hate it, because I hate Pep Guardiola.
Really?
He's right.
If we didn't have Conte, if Conte was out of the equation, you would have loved to succeed Mourinho. You would have loved him to succeed.
I don't like Guardiola. Honestly, I'm going to say a big comment here, and I get ripped apart for it every time. I consider Guardiola to be a fraud. I call him Fraudiola. But this, I'll give you. Oh no, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you for why. Right. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Man City. Big budget, big budget, big budget.
But could Roy Hodgson go and manage them teams and do a good job at them teams?
Yes, I could do it.
You could do it?
I could do it.
Come on, you've got to manage them big egos, them big personalities.
Yeah.
You've still got to pick the formation, you've got to pick the lineups.
Right.
You've still got to keep them all happy.
He's a good coach, but a shite manager. I can swear on him, right?
Yeah. It's West Ham fan TV.
I honestly, I don't like Guardiola. I think honestly, he's not had a challenge. But you look at the big managers in the past, Mourinho, Ancelotti, Fabio Capello, he had to basically bring AC Milan back. You know, you had Mourinho at Porto, obviously, and then you've had, you know, Ancelotti was at Parma, Juventus.
So take Conte out of the equation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been happy if he became Chelsea manager.
If we got Guardiola, I'd be like, okay.
There was actually a West Ham fan, apparently. Well, I heard this recording who said he'd want Mark Noble over Pep Guardiola. Because he's not local. He's not from East London. It's on TalkSport. We'll go and look it up.
Oh no, I saw that. I was listening to that.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
You know,
if someone Ray Winston could be the assistant manager. Yeah.
It's his opinion. Everyone's entitled to it, isn't it?
I mean, what have you made of West Ham like so far this season?
Right. Because you guys are my mates, I don't know what it is, but I kind of felt really sorry. I have a bit of a soft spot for you lot. But it's a bit like, I think it might just because I like Green Street as well. You were talking earlier about international fans and all that, but I mean, like, you know, I think that I actually feel genuinely sorry because the Berlin was a ground because obviously I'm 19 now, turning 20 in a few days. Yeah. But other than that, you know, I never had the opportunity to go to Berlin because obviously I was either too young and my dad, you know, for obvious reasons in the past, you know, he didn't want to take me. He felt a bit uncomfortable with it. Obviously that's all blown over now, modern football and all of that, but I mean, you know, I always wanted to go to Berlin and I was really gutted that I never got to go. Obviously the final season, no chance I was going to get a ticket for that. But ever since
where we beat you, by the way.
Oh yeah, I remember that, but it wasn't hard. Anyone could beat us that season. But I think, you know, this stadium, just when I came here last year, it's a soulless bowl and it just, there was no noise.
I tell you what, because I was surprised about it, because in the cup, the atmosphere, and everyone will tell you, that was the first game where we heard the atmosphere was rocking that night. And that was the first game, because it had been dead up until that point. Spurs, when we played them, it was rocking.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But do you know why I think the stadium was so flat? And I thought I was expecting another atmosphere at the cup. Why I think it was so flat at that point? Because we'd been getting battered in the league so much, and we was, you know, the season was pretty much over, and I think fans were just deflated, and everyone had had enough. Now, we've obviously been having some poor results lately. The Leicester game showed us what the stadium could be, and we had a bit of a good performance against City. So we've still got something to fight for in terms of our survival. So that's why I think the atmosphere could be good on Saturday. I mean, it's not easy to get a good atmosphere here. It's easy.
It's not a football stadium.
No, it's not. It's not. But it's possible, and I think now fans, more like-minded fans, are sitting together. It's a lot easier. Yeah. So, I mean, for us, the best thing we can do is get right up for it and get behind the team.
I have a feeling you lot will be up for it. You know, you need to get the points as well. You obviously you're going to be fighting for safety in the league,
Yeah.
Well, relative safety, obviously, because I know there's still a long way to go at the season, but you want to get those 3 points on the board.
Yeah.
And it can happen. We're just going to have to see how it develops.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we don't want to get smashed against you guys. I think in order of the teams that West Ham fans hate, I think you go Millwall, Tottenham, then Chelsea. And Chelsea's up there, but it's like I said on your channel, I love that rivalry. I love I said the tribalism, and I think we've got to maintain that, and going into it, I just don't want to get smashed by you guys, because I know your fans will be loving it. So we'll see, mate. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably catch up with you after the game.
Definitely.
On the fan cams, all of that. There's a cat. There's a cat down there.
We've had a cat and we've had dogs.
Cat invasion. Yeah, so go and check out the preview on 100% Chelsea, and subscribe to their channel. Even if you're not a Chelsea, it's good to see other fans' perspective. And if you do hate Chelsea, then you can go and watch it when they lose and enjoy yourselves.
You just come and rip us apart.
Go check them out. A great bunch of lads over there, work their asses off. So yeah, go and subscribe to them. We're going to catch up with you guys on the day. Hopefully we've got smiles on and you've got frowns, but you never know. It's football, it's Premier League. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Leave your comments below, subscribe
to West Ham Fantasy. Honestly, these guys, like they're saying, we work our ass off, but they've been through the mill, and you lot, you support the channel. It's absolutely fantastic, because it's a really great YouTube channel. Obviously you've got the football team and stuff as well, and it's really something we aspire to be. So yeah, subscribe to West Ham Fan TV.
Cheers, Louis. Cheers, Louis. And we will, like I said, we'll catch up with you on Saturday. And don't forget to subscribe. One thing left to say: come on, you irons.
No.